Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, January 22nd, 5:24 a.m. Central Time. Grain markets are mixed this morning. March corn futures down 1.5 at 488.5. March soybeans down 4.25 at 1063. March Chicago wheat down 1/4 cent at 558.5. March Kansas City wheat up a half at 576. March spring wheat down 3/4 cent at 603 3/4. We had some rumors yesterday. Let's start there.
We sure did. Rumors circulated on Tuesday regarding possible Chinese purchases of U.S. corn. The rumors come amid a Monday announcement from the Chinese government indicating that the country will increase the scale of corn purchase and storage and will also seize the right timing, pace, and scale for grain imports. Chinese purchases of U.S. corn are near zero this year and are down sharply from levels seen during the same period in 2022 and 2021. On a continuation basis, spot month corn futures traded their best level since October 2023 on Tuesday.
The rally remains incredibly impressive. And to be very clear, the reason for the rally is the decrease in the projection for U.S. ending stocks. We tightened up just drastically through a combination of improved demand and also a cut to last year's corn crop based on the most recent USDA stuff. Back in September, USDA was projecting a U.S. corn carryout on August 31st of this year north of 2 billion bushels. Now we're talking 1.5 and change. That's the reason for the big rally. Could yesterday's action in a vacuum have had something to do with rumors of Chinese corn purchases? I suppose. China's got basically nothing on the books for this year. And prior to 2020, China had never made big purchases of U.S. corn. There were a couple years, I think like 2013 or 14, where they bought some corn, but never did you see like a 12 or 15 or 20 million metric ton program where China bought corn from the United States. So I'm looking at this chart. It's kind of interesting. You see that spike on this teal line. If you guys are watching, that was this time in 2021 following the trade deal. It correlates with like this time of year right now, like January, February. I don't know if that means anything or not. Does China need corn? I don't know. I don't know if these USDA numbers regarding China corn are accurate at all. USDA says that Chinese ending stocks of corn will be 206 million metric tons. That's 70% of all projected global ending stocks. And that's why the corn ending stock situation with regard to the world is kind of difficult to dissect sometimes. China corn ending stocks to use ratio is the lowest it's been, I believe, since the 13-14 marketing year, but it's still obscenely high relative to what we have in the United States. So in the U.S., our stocks to use ratio is like 10%. In China, it's 65%. They've got tons of corn floating around the country if these numbers are correct. And these are WASDE numbers. I don't know if they're reality or not. The markets acted fantastically. So spot month corn futures bottomed at 360.5. I believe that would have been the September contract back in August. We traded to 490 yesterday. That's $1.30 per bushel rally, 36%. The funds went from record short to a heavy long. The fundamentals have changed. Demand's improved. Last year's crop got cut. It's just it's a really good looking deal in these old crop contracts. New crop hasn't cooperated. I think there's ideas of larger acreage. Let's jump to that.
S&P Global Commodity Insights has increased its outlook for the season's corn acres. The firm is projecting U.S. farmers to plant 93.5 million acres of corn this year. The estimate is 700,000 acres higher than the previous forecast and 2.9 million acres more than 2024. Soybean acreage is projected at 83.3 million, a decline of 700,000 acres from the firm's prior estimate and 3.8 million acres lower than 2024. The USDA is projecting this season's corn acreage at 82.9 million and soybean acreage at 86.1 million.
The idea that corn acres will increase versus last year, that's a lock. That's going to happen. Is it 93? Is it 93.5 as S&P Global says? Is it 95? There are some people who think it's 95 or 96. I don't know. The ratio would certainly suggest the corn soybean ratio for new crop 2.27 to 1. That would suggest an increase in corn acreage year over year. The budgets and what farmers are looking at on the farm and their own kind of microeconomy, I think, is probably the bigger deal. With December 25 corn sitting, close to 460, you're getting back to price levels that resemble the cost of production. You're getting close. With no beans at $10.50, you're probably still more than $1 below production cost for a lot of farmers. That's one thing. The other thing to consider is just the simple outlay of cash. Corn's a lot more expensive to plant, but the ROI is probably better. The farmers are tight on cash, but at the same time, there's going to be direct payments here in the next 6 weeks. So I don't know. The corn acreage number is going up, and we won't really know for sure. And even by June, you don't know for sure. The March report's really not very good. USDA will be the first one to tell you that. Really, it's in June that you get your first like super. I'm not going to even say super accurate, but accurate-ish indication of the acreage mix.
So if you guys have not checked out our premium content, you sure need to do so. Joe, can you tell me about yesterday's premium video?
Paul Nefer was on yesterday. We played around with USDA's carbon calculator and talked about what the farmer could actually get out of this 45Z deal if it all goes through. You got to remember that the credit is going to go to the biofuel manufacturer, the sustainable aviation producer, and you're going to hope that you get a percentage of that. Is that percentage 20%? Is it 25%? Paul laid out the numbers in terms of what the total credit's going to be worth, and then we're kind of left to decide like what that might be worth on the farm. We ran through the carbon calculator from a farmer standpoint, and you can play with it yourself. And we made all the links available, so you can go in and punch in your own, practices. Are you doing cover crop? Are you doing no-till or reduced till? Are you doing the nutrient stuff? And see where your corn pans out. Matt Bennett is going to be on today. We've got a mailbag. We do 20 questions with Matt every 2 weeks, and it is jam-packed full of grain marketing questions, grain market questions, cash market type stuff. That should be a really good one that's going to be out later today. If you want to see the premium stuff, go to standardgrain.com. You can sign up this morning. It's a $50 per month subscription. Cancel at any time. No other fee, no other obligation. Nobody will try to sell you anything else. It takes about 30 seconds to sign up on your phone, guys. We do Apple Pay, Google Pay, Cash App, credit card. It's a piece of cake. The videos are a piece of cake to play on your phone. It's just click to play. There's no login instructions. Super easy. Check it out this morning.
President Donald Trump is considering slapping a 10% tariff on China as early as February 1st. Trump announced on Tuesday evening that the tariff is in response to China sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada. Trump and his team are also considering the implementation of a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada that would be imposed as soon as February 1st. Trump cited the ongoing influx of immigrants into the U.S. from both countries as the reason for the potential tariff. During his campaign, Trump floated the idea of a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. Then in November, Trump called for an additional 10% tariff due to China facilitating the flow of fentanyl into the U.S.
February 1st is a week from Saturday. The market doesn't seem concerned about this at all. And the media, the whole narrative with the media seems to have shifted. CNBC had this out yesterday. Soybeans on steroids. Trump's grand bargain with China, ? And they kind of go into the trade deal and how it didn't really pan out and how China never met its purchase goals. And Scott Bessent, we talked about this during his Treasury confirmation hearing, talked about that exact same thing and said, hey, we may need to push them towards something like a phase 2 trade deal. Bloomberg had a graphic on this on how China didn't really meet the trade deal targets ever. So does that mean that they have to come in and buy corn and soybeans and wheat and other things to make the new administration happy and avoid tariffs? That would be a good thing. And maybe that coincides with our first story about the rumor mills. So we'll see.
The Brazilian Association of Vegetable Oil Industries has raised its forecast for Brazil's soybean crop. The group estimates this season's crop will reach 171.7 million metric tons, up from its previous forecast of 168.7. Soybean exports were raised to 106.1 million metric tons, compared to the prior estimate of 104.4. Brazil's soybean crush is estimated at 57.1 million metric tons, a slight increase from 57. USDA is forecasting Brazil's soybean crop at 169 million metric tons, while CONAB, Brazil's version of the USDA, estimates the crop at 166.3.
Some groups have cut estimates of Brazil's crop. Some groups have increased estimates of Brazil's crop. I don't think at this point we're going to stray incredibly far from that 170 number. Like 170 is probably about the over-under. Maybe it's 172. Maybe it's 168. I don't know that it's overly consequential. Brazil's weather forecast doesn't look bad to me. I know that they've said harvest is delayed in the north, which is Mato Grosso in particular, due to excessive rain. But rainfall over the next 14 days in Mato Grosso is going to be below normal. You're going to be above normal in areas further to the south. And they actually need the rain in the far south part of the country. Looking at Argentina and southern Brazil, which have been your problem areas, of course, the rain is still kind of lacking here. The rains are going to return to southern Brazil, but Argentina, soybean country, is going to miss a lot of this stuff, at least over the next 5 days. And then your 5 to 10 day period looks maybe a little bit better, but we saw these rains miss once before this past weekend. And if they miss again, that may be problematic. Our friends at Crop Profit tell us that over the next 14 days, Argentina soybean country will see 77% of its normal rainfall. And then when you look at the extended 15 to 28, you're looking at 92% of normal rainfall. You still got a lot of those central areas that are dry. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some reductions to the Argentina crop estimates.
U.S. corn shipments surpassed pre-report expectations again last week. USDA reported that 61 million bushels of corn were inspected for export during the week ending January 16th. The print was up 6.9% compared to the previous week and up a whopping 106% versus the same week last year. Soybean shipments fell below expectations at 36 million bushels. The print was down 28% from the prior week and down 18% compared to the same week last year. Wheat shipments also fell below expectations at 10 million bushels. The print was down 13% from the previous week and down 17% versus the same week last year.
Fantastic corn shipment number. I believe that's a marketing year high. And we're starting the prime time corn shipping season a little bit early, the way it would appear. Usually like February, March is where we really start to accelerate, and we are accelerating now. Soybean shipments are supposed to back off this time of year. That's what happens seasonally. As the Brazilian crop gets closer to coming online, we start shipping less. Wheat shipments are not very good. The wheat market finally rallied yesterday, and maybe is finally going to play along with the row crops here, which is a nice, pleasant surprise. What did cattle do yesterday?
Cattle futures were mixed. Live cattle were 17 cents lower to 52 cents higher. Feeders were 220 lower to 90 cents higher. Box beef was also mixed. Choice was down 111 at 332.05. Select was up 11 cents at 319.55.
Outside markets this morning, U.S. dollars off a little bit. Stocks are up. The S&P's up 27. The Dow Jones up 63. Bonds are flat. Gold's up $9. Crude oil is up 23 cents at 75.23 in the April WTI. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back on Thursday.